Welcome to my inaugural usage of a new GoPro 10. So let's see, Hero 10 I guess. So hopefully my videos might be a little better. We'll see. I'm going to take you on a little walkthrough and we'll see how this camera goes. Don't know if any of this stuff's ever going to make it up to the YouTube or not, but we'll see how it goes. Figure out how to turn this thing around. Here's the easement area where we have a wood chip path down. Got our two driveways. Or wraparound, I guess. We built this carport a year, 2 years ago to keep a camper outside year-round. Property came with a pole barn. You can hear some background noise. I'm actually running our snowmobiles currently to on the off season. Keep the engines lubricated and stuff like that. Keep carburetors clean without having to go through and do a summerization process. Of all the trees we had taken down last year, this is the resting place for a while. This whole area, this yard was full of trees last year that we took out, opened up, and we buried all of the stumps pretty much right under this parking lot area last summer. And as we found out this spring, last time we were here, we pulled in and kind of right here in the middle, one of the tires of the truck created a hole, and when I was driving back and forth to try to fill it in, another hole opened up and dropped the truck and got stuck. So we had to use our tractor to get it out, but tried to pack everything down, firm it up. It was a recommendation not to put gravel down and stuff, but until a winter had passed so that it could clear up. So our fire pit area. Snowmobile's warming up. Luckily blowing exhaust that way so they're not encroaching too much on the property. We've got our well and an old hydrant that unfortunately I think has a cracked top on it, so don't really use that much, but kind of the edge of our property we have cut in a couple paths, or perimeter path. Over here is our main path, and this is the one that I cut in and put a makeshift bridge over. For those of you that don't know, when we bought this property, we the following spring we bought a Kubota 23S tractor, subcompact tractor with front end loader and backhoe, so that's allowed us to kind of maintain and mow and tear out stumps and all that stuff. A little mushy right in here. So this is the makeshift bridge I made, which is basically just stacked logs in a low part that is kind of a river, more of a seasonal creek, I guess. Goes on to our neighbor's property, but never really forms in anything where we actually get running water. So come around the corner, we're approaching the river. Oh, actually need to run back, and I should have turned off those snowmobiles, so why don't you come with me, we'll double time it up there. This is the main path that was on the property when we bought it. Had some trees kind of fall over it this past winter and cut those up so we can maintain our access. I guess you're supposed to leave snowmobiles running for like 7 to 10 minutes in the off season to get them warm up, but I'm passing 13 minutes. We have two Polaris Indy snowmobiles. One's a 96, one's a 98 with water cooling instead of air cooled. So one second here and shut these off. Sure that was nice and loud for you guys. Well, since we're up here, we'll take a quick gander through the pole barn, and then we'll make a different way down to our path, or to the river. One of the paths down, you can, doubt you'll be able to see, there's a rope down there holding some hanging targets. Makeshift shooting range. You see those handles going from bright to dark. So we're keeping our pop-up in here so we can kind of leave it set up as a extra apartment, you know, sleeping quarters for anyone that might want to come on the off season and stuff. So put in this wood platform, put in all this gravel. This was just a dirt floored pole barn when we got it. So first we built the platform that the tractor is sitting on. Cover. All dramatic style. So love this tractor. Got the cover, a fan on the roof there, added a light kit, put some additional skid plates on the bottom since a lot of our work is work in the woods and driving over sticks and branches and stuff. I guess there is a weak or a little better lighting. There's a transmission fan that is susceptible to getting hit but with sticks, so wanted to get that covered up and not have that break. I've heard if you let that happen, it's like a $2,000 plus repair, so a little pricey. Here's a remnants of about half, 2/3 of the logs that we had taken down here. In this space we had 20 trees taken down in this area, one kind of by the power pole and the camper there, a couple over in the parking lot area, cleaned up a few others, and try to save money. We opted to take care of the logs and stuff and just had them chip all the branches and stuff. But the more work you're willing to do, the more work you gotta do. So it's an ongoing process to get a bunch of split lumber. So my neighbors are over here. It looks like they might have rented a log splitter to up their wood pile. Real nice guy. He's actually got 15 acres where we just have 5. He's got some pretty nice established trails and stuff, so over the winter he lets us ride our snowmobiles on and hike their property if we like. Really nice stuff. This is part of our perimeter path. There's a path behind me here that goes out to the easement area that loops around, so nice to have a more or less full path around our 5 acres. our neighbor to our south is just undeveloped land, so really nice to be able to put a path right there and not feel like you're encroaching on somebody's, you know, privacy and stuff. So maybe one day we'll be able to own it. Path that goes down to the shooting range. You'll kind of see it's at the end there on the right. Had these big tree come down over the winter, or start to fall, and then in the past 2 weeks has now fallen over and pushed over all these other trees. So this is the line of the path that we used to take. In the winter we can kind of shoot right through here into my neighbor's property, but you can see it is or was still alive. And this was a path, but we found an insane amount of broken trash and glass in this pile right here. So rather than go through the hassle and possible danger of cleaning it all up, we decided to throw some stumps over here and cut in this new path around this little clump of trees, as to not worry about that, and hopefully keep anybody with bare feet or just happens to dig into it. But just look at the trees down here. Like, one there kind of in the center of the camera now is the big one that fell. Possibly one of the biggest trees that is in this area. Started to tip over, and you see just ripping these trees out of the ground. It's a little zipper road I made here with just laying down logs. Help kind of keep the tractor and feet out of the mud. The spring that we bought this property was quite wet, and so this whole area in here was probably 2 to 4 inches of, or probably 2 to 6 inches of water kind of running through this main area. Doesn't show well on the camera of how big around that is, but that's probably 24 to 30 inches in diameter. So if I had any more need of firewood, it'd be great, but did a job on that root ball. How you guys doing? Enjoying the tour? Like, comment below. Do what you want. Have a good time. Coming up to the front corner of our property near the river. We've got this little landing. A little lower, easier access into the river, which is nice because we've got some inner tubes and stuff, and us and our friends and our kids come up, plop down in the river right through here, and then float the 500 or 600 feet of riverfront we got. I don't remember that tree quite being leaned over as far, but don't got a lot of space over here, but just enough for a picnic table if we want, and another place to come hang out in the shade. Riverfront. This was a nice bonus. When we first came and looked at this property, we thought our property ended up here by this tree right here on the right, and just assumed that it was all that was our neighbor's. He'd actually had a tree stand in one of the trees right by the river there for hunting, and so we found out that that was ours. Asked him to remove it as it was kind of choking into a tree. Get some good views of the river as we walk through. Nice having so much land this high above the river. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Edenville and Sanford Dam collapses of a few years ago. that rainstorm affected us. We are quite close to those. This river actually leads down into Eatonville, where the first dam collapsed and then washed down into Sanford and washed that one out as well. So the dam just upstream of us was overtopped, and so it was running uncontrolled. We had water over here, well, we'll see, come up about, I'm guessing 15-20 feet above the typical water line, and I'll show you where we had evidence that the water getting up to. And but the dam downstream of us held up, was able to maintain the flow and wasn't damaged in it, so we have not had any significant issues like so many, unfortunately. Hope they fare well and they get the dams taken care of and get those lakes refilled to the best possible outcome. So here's our slope down to the river, and you can kind of see where there's a log. It's a big log lane, but you can see one kind of lane just underneath it. That's about where the water came up to. We had evidence of river carried sand, I think up to about right in here. I want to say I tossed that log over as a marker. And how we know that is it was actually deep enough, or that it floated one of these logs from in here that we've kind of used as a step. This is kind of a little marshy area down, and it picked up that log from one of these steps and pushed it over, so it was deep enough to pull it out of the ground and float it. You have a picnic table down here that it was actually picked up as well and carried over into that clump of trees and mass over there, so I had to go and pull that back. This huge stump here was a clump of some very large trees, the biggest ones in these bank here, and we were actually at the property when I heard one of the trees explode and fall into the other and kind of start this cascade. So the same company that took out our trees up front came down and was able to help cut those up and clean up the river for us. River's undergone quite a bit of cleanup since we bought it. Local, I think like Ducks Unlimited, has given some money, and some other organizations have given money for river cleanup in between Gladwin and Beaverton, and in the efforts of trying to make this navigable. Parts of this river are more navigable as they are managed further upstream of us, but the stretch in between City Park in Gladwin and Ross Lake in Beaverton is essentially unpassable. So they have worked on cleaning up the first probably third of the river or so, and we are a lucky beneficiary of that. So this is where I come down almost every time we come out. Just take a picture looking down here. It's probably my favorite view of the whole property, is this winding S road, part of the river. I think we've pretty much seen most of the property now, so this is the first capture ever on this, so who knows if any of this is even working. It'll be interesting to find out. Well, hope you enjoy this tour, and hopefully the camera might be improving the quality, and maybe I'll actually start editing stuff rather than just posting full clips because I'm lazy. So I'm gonna head back up here, take a break, and then we'll see what we get into next. Gotta do some repairs on our pop-up and you know, general maintenance stuff. But we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.